This program is brought to you by Emory University.
Thank you for coming. Very interesting. My question was, I think I read somewhere that 66% of citizens in Egypt support the implementation of Sharia. Assuming that Egypt was a truly democratic state, and assuming they were trying to implement that, wouldn't that be sort of undemocratic to not let the will of the majority implement Sharia? Thank you.
The question was that he read somewhere that 66% of Egyptians would say that they want Sharia to be the law of the land. Wouldn't it be undemocratic for me to say that they should not be allowed to have that is to have Sharia enforced as the law of the land? No, it is not. Because democracy is not the rule of the majority only. It is the rule of the majority subject to the rights of the minority, even of a single person.
Could you repeat that?
Okay. Democracy is not simply the rule of the majority. It is the rule of the majority subject to the rights of the minority, even of a single person. And actually that is also Taha's definition, but I'm sure it is a common definition. The point is that 12% of the Egyptian population are Copts. If the Sharia, the 66% Egyptians talk about as being enforced by the state, is to be truly enforced by the state, then the 12% of the Copts population of Egypt will be relegated to second-class citizens, to the status of dhimmis. And so would women be relegated to second-class citizens. So enforcing Sharia by the state in Egypt or anywhere violates the fundamental rights of all citizens. Actually, it violates even the rights of those who think that they are the majority, because they will be trapped into a situation where they cannot even express dissent without suffering the punishment of apostasy, for example. So the point is that I think what you are referring to is a survey that was done, I think, recently by the Globe, I think, from the organization Who Speaks for Muslims. It was published, and it gives a survey globally about how Muslims in this country wanted 60%, 50%. The point is that people do not really know what they're talking about, in the sense that when you ask specifically what do you mean by that, and that's why the question is really inadequate when you keep it at that level of generality. If you ask a Muslim, do you want Sharia, he will say yes. Do you want to have the hudud imposed, amputation of the hands and legs? He will say no, not really. Do you want banking prohibited? No. How come you run an economy without interest and banking and so on? Insurance. So the point is that the discourse is not specific enough about what people mean when they say Sharia to be enforced as a state law. If you want to get to specifics, I would say that any attempt to enforce Sharia by state law is always unconstitutional. And as such, it is not a violation of democratic principles to oppose the application of Sharia by the state. It is, in fact, upholding the possibility of democratic principles to oppose the application of Sharia by the state.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.